Welcome back to our channel, Soap Fans. Today is a phenomenal day to dive into the juiciest drama Los Angeles has to offer. Grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's unpack the explosive secrets and shocking twists coming your way on The Bold and the Beautiful. We have a lot of ground to cover, so let's get right to it. Blood on the runway has officially spilled into the streets, and a single, reckless swing of a fist is about to shatter the fragile peace of Los Angeles forever. The simmering, decades-old feud between the majestic Forrester dynasty and the ruthless Spencer empire was always destined to detonate. But nobody could have predicted this cataclysmic collision of fate, pride, and raw, unadulterated violence. The battle lines are no longer just drawn in the boardroom or on the couture catwalks. They're being painted in bruises and broken family bonds. A patriarch has fallen. A young heir is spiraling out of control. And the absolute obliteration of a high society romance has triggered a chain reaction that could end with someone sitting behind cold steel bars. Well, Spencer is a young man standing on the precipice of total self-destruction. Ever since Electra Forrester shattered his heart and dumped him. Yet again, the Spencer heir has been trapped in a violent, uncontrollable downward spiral. The Forresters, acting with their signature brand of elitist authority, have drawn a permanent line in the sand. They have issued a devastating ultimatum to Electra: cut all ties with Dollar Bill's volatile son, or pack your bags and lose your prestigious position at Forrester Creations. For a family that prides itself on elegance, this was a ruthless, calculated maneuver designed to surgically remove a Spencer from their ranks. But they severely underestimated the dangerous, inherited rage pumping through Spencer's veins. Will is not the kind of man who goes away quietly. He is a Spencer bred for battle and conditioned to fight for what he believes belongs to him. Stripped of his job, stripped of his dignity, and now stripped of the woman he loves, Will is operating on pure, unadulterated adrenaline and heartbreak. The whispers around town are already growing louder, with insiders and family members alike questioning his mental stability. The erratic behavior, the sudden outbursts, the inability to control his visceral reactions, it all points to a young man in desperate need of psychological intervention. Is this just a broken heart, or is it a severe mental health crisis waiting to explode? The answer is about to manifest in the most brutal way imaginable. Fueled by desperation and blinded by a toxic cocktail of grief and anger, Will Spencer launches a one-man assault to reclaim his life. Ranting, raving, and completely unhinged, Will refuses to accept the Forrester family's decree. He demands answers. He demands Electra. But instead of finding a path to reconciliation, he walks straight into a fortified wall of Forrester arrogance. R.J. Forrester, playing the role of the Golden Boy Protector, steps up to block Will's path, his own ego flaring as he defends his cousin and his family's sacred territory. The tension in the air is thick, suffocating, and highly combustible. The verbal sparring instantly escalates into a dangerous physical confrontation. R.J., fiercely loyal and eager to prove his dominance, grabs Will by the shirt collar. Will, already operating on a hair-trigger temper, snaps. He sneers at the Forrester heir, his vision tunneling as years of family rivalry and personal humiliation boil over. But this is not just a fight between two young, hot-headed rivals. This is the moment the ultimate tragedy strikes. Eric Forrester, the revered geriatric patriarch of the Forrester empire, makes a fateful, disastrous decision. Refusing to stay in his lane and determined to police a fight that does not belong to him, Eric wedges himself directly into the crossfire. He snaps at Will, ordering him to back down, ordering him to stay away from Electra, and treating the Spencer heir like an unruly child. Will, drunk on rage and defiance, spits back, calling Eric an old man, and swearing he will do whatever he pleases. The disrespect is palpable. The adrenaline is blinding. The shoving match turns violent in a fraction of a second. Fists start flying. In the chaotic, adrenaline-fueled blur of the brawl, Will Spencer pulls back his arm and swings with every ounce of power he possesses. But the fist meant to shatter R.J. Forrester's jaw misses its intended target. Instead, it lands with a sickening, devastating crack squarely on the face of Eric Forrester. The world stops spinning. The room falls into a horrified, paralyzed silence. Eric Forrester, the man who built an international fashion empire, the man who survived multiple health scares, drops to the floor. A Spencer has just violently assaulted the patriarch of the Forrester family. The visual of Eric Forrester sporting a brutal, swelling black eye is the ultimate declaration of war. This is no longer a corporate dispute over stolen designs or poached talent. This is a blood feud. When Ridge Forrester lays eyes on his battered, bruised father, a terrifying, volcanic rage erupts from deep within his soul. Ridge has spent weeks trying to keep his cool, trying to take the high road in the wake of the fashion show disasters. But his patience has officially evaporated. The Forrester CEO is hanging by a thread, and seeing his father physically wounded by a Spencer is the final, unforgivable sin. Ridge Forrester is a man who once threw Bill Spencer off a balcony in a fit of protective rage. He is not a man who hands out free passes to his enemies, and he is certainly not going to hand one to Bill's reckless offspring. Ridge's reaction is explosive and absolute. He vows, with a chilling, terrifying certainty, to make Will Spencer pay for what he has done. He proclaims a total, uncompromising ban on any Forrester and Spencer intermingling. The battle lines are cemented in concrete. Ridge will not rest until Will is destroyed professionally, personally, and legally. The threat of criminal charges hangs heavy in the air. Assaulting a senior citizen is a severe crime, and Ridge has the power, the money, and the motivation to see Will locked behind bars. Across town, the fallout sends shockwaves through the Spencer camp. Katie Logan Spencer, a mother driven by sheer, blinding panic, realizes the catastrophic magnitude of her son's actions. Will has crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. Desperate to keep her son out of a prison cell and frantic to smooth over a situation that is rapidly spiraling into a legal nightmare, Katie embarks on a humiliating, heart-wrenching apology tour. She knows that Will's freedom is on the line. She knows that the Forrester family holds the keys to her son's future. With tears streaming down her face and her heart pounding in her chest, Katie arrives at the Forrester estate to face the music. She finds Eric, nursing his bruised and battered face, sitting beside a furious Donna. Katie sobs, her voice trembling as she issues a desperate, emotional apology for her son's violent outburst. She pleads for mercy. She begs for understanding. But she is walking into a lion's den of unforgiving rage. Brooke Logan Forrester, standing firmly by her husband's side, launches a devastating verbal assault on her own sister. Brooke's transformation into a cold, calculating Forrester matriarch is complete. She looks at Katie's tears and feels absolutely no sympathy. "You wanted this war," Brooke shouts, her voice echoing through the opulent halls of the Forrester mansion. Brooke has officially disowned Katie. She blames Katie and Bill for instigating this entire toxic environment. In Brooke's eyes, Will's violence is a direct result of the Spencer family's greed and arrogance. There will be no forgiveness. There will be no mercy. The Logan sisterhood is dead, buried beneath a mountain of corporate betrayal and physical violence. The psychological toll this event takes on every single character is staggering. For Will, the realization of what he has done is a crushing, suffocating weight. He never intended to strike an elderly man. He never intended to physically harm the grandfather of the woman he loves. But intentions do not matter in a court of law, and they certainly do not matter to Ridge Forrester. Will is trapped in a nightmare of his own making. His violent tendencies have finally caught up with him, and the consequences are going to be biblical. Will this be the catalyst that finally forces Will into a psychiatric facility for a much-needed mental health evaluation? Or will he be dragged away in handcuffs, his future destroyed by a single moment of uncontrollable rage. Bill Spencer, meanwhile, is about to face the ultimate test of his power. Bill has spent the last few weeks gloating, riding high on the success of Logan Designs and mocking Eric Forster's public meltdowns. He has reveled in the chaos. But now, his own flesh and blood is facing potential jail time. Bill's billions can buy a lot of things, but can they buy Will's way out of a felony assault charge? Bill will undoubtedly unleash his army of high-powered attorneys, ready to wage a legal war against the Foresters. He will spin the narrative. He will blame RJ for instigating the fight. He will blame Eric for stepping into a brawl that wasn't his to fight. The courtroom drama is going to be just as vicious, just as cutthroat, and just as sensational as the boardroom battles. Elektra Forster is caught in the agonizing, devastating crossfire. She is torn between the undeniable love she still harbors for Will and the horrifying reality of his violent actions. She watched him strike her grandfather. She watched the man she loves lose complete control. The trauma of that moment is permanently seared into her memory. Ivy Forrester's manipulative whispers and RJ's opportunistic advances are only adding to her immense psychological burden. Elektra is being pulled in a million different directions, forced to choose between her family's legacy and the dark, dangerous allure of a broken Spencer. The dynamic between Eric and Donna is also fracturing under the immense pressure of this feud. Eric, humiliated and in physical pain, is lashing out at the woman he loves. He cannot reconcile Donna's loyalty to her sister Katie with the reality of his current situation. He has already issued a chilling ultimatum: cut ties with the Spencers or face divorce papers. Donna is trapped in an impossible, heartbreaking dilemma, forced to choose between her husband's fragile ego and her own flesh and blood. Every single relationship in Los Angeles is being tested, twisted, and pushed to the absolute breaking point. The collateral damage from Will's fist is spreading like a wildfire, consuming everything in its path. There is no neutral ground left. You are either a Forrester or you are Spencer. You are either demanding justice for a battered patriarch, or you are fighting to save a troubled young man from the unforgiving jaws of the legal system. The stakes have never been higher. The emotions have never been more volatile. Ridge is out for blood, demanding retribution for the physical assault on his father. Katie is fighting a desperate, losing battle to keep her son out of a prison cell. Brooke has completely severed ties with her own sister, choosing her husband's vendetta over her family's bond. And Will Spencer is left to face the terrifying, life-altering consequences of a temper he can no longer control. Will the police arrive at the Spencer estate with an arrest warrant? Will Ridge take the law into his own hands and exact a brutal, physical revenge on Will? Will Elektra finally walk away for good, or will the tragedy pull her back into Will's toxic orbit? The fallout from this catastrophic brawl is going to dominate the summer, leaving a trail of shattered lives and broken hearts in its wake. Next, fate is a ruthless architect, and it is about to orchestrate a catastrophic collision of desperation, deception, and high-stakes criminal consequences. Daphne Rose Walton's perfect world is shattering into a million jagged pieces, transforming a devastating medical diagnosis into a terrifying thriller of illegal schemes and a desperate race to secure a child at any cost. The sterile walls of the hospital room feel like a prison as Dr. Lee Finnegan delivers the crushing, irreversible blow. Early menopause, total infertility. Daphne's breath catches in her throat as the words echo like a death sentence. Steffi Forster Finnegan stands by her side, gripping her friend's hand, but no amount of comfort can stop the room from spinning. Daphne's entire future has just been erased in a single heartbeat. She is staring down the barrel of a biological reality she cannot change, and the absolute terror of what this means for her marriage instantly paralyzes her. Carter Walton is the ultimate catch in Los Angeles. He is a man who has craved a family, a legacy, and a child of his own for years. He has endured the brutal heartbreak of Quinn Fuller. He survived the disastrous, humiliating altar abandonment of Paris Buckingham. He weathered the emotional roller coaster of Katie Logan. Daphne was supposed to be his safe harbor. She was the woman who promised him the future he had always dreamed of. Now, she is terrified. She is just another massive disappointment waiting to destroy him. The walk out of the hospital is a blur. The bustling Los Angeles streets fade into white noise as Daphne's mind races at 1,000,000 miles an hour. She cannot be the woman who breaks Carter Walton's heart again. She refuses to be the reason his dreams of fatherhood die. When Daphne finally breaks the news in the quiet luxury of their loft, the scene is agonizing. Carter is supportive, of course. He is the quintessential good guy. He holds her while she sobs. He immediately pivots to solutions, suggesting surrogacy and adoption. But Daphne hears the unspoken truth hiding beneath his brave, supportive smile. She hears the reality of the timeline. Surrogacy takes years. Finding the right candidate, the legal battles, the medical procedures, the inevitable heartbreak of failed implantations. Adoption is a bureaucratic nightmare of endless background checks, home visits, and agonizing wait lists. Daphne's biological clock has been violently replaced by a ticking time bomb of marital insecurity. She cannot wait 2 years. She cannot endure the agonizing uncertainty. She needs a baby right now. The paranoia sets in with a terrifying, toxic speed. Daphne begins to watch Carter's every move. She sees him looking at Hayes and Kelly with a longing that shatters her soul. Every time he smiles at a passing stroller, it feels like a dagger to her heart. Her fear of losing him mutates into a frantic, dangerous energy. She convinces herself that Carter's love is conditional on her providing a child. She must act. She must bypass the system. She must take control of her destiny, even if it means crossing a line she can never uncross. Enter Shauna Fulton. Shauna has just made a shocking return to Los Angeles, currently hustling a brand new jewelry line with Wyatt Spencer over at Logan Designs. But Shauna and her daughter Flo have a dark, complicated, and highly illegal history with baby scandals. Everyone in Los Angeles remembers the catastrophic Baby Beth disaster. They remember Dr. Reese Buckingham. They remember the shadowy, underground world of illegal adoptions that nearly destroyed the Forrester and Logan families. Shauna knows people. Shauna knows the dark underbelly of the black market. Daphne corners Shauna in a tense, high-stakes negotiation in the shadows of the city. Hushed tones, frantic whispers. Daphne has money. She has endless resources. She has the desperation of a woman with nothing left to lose. Shauna's eyes gleam with opportunistic greed. Will she broker a deal? Will she connect the Forrester chief operating officer's wife with the same shadowy figures who deal in fast-tracked, off-the-books human trafficking? The heat in Los Angeles is too high. The risk of exposure is too great. Daphne must look to her roots. She must look to Europe. As a world-renowned Parisian perfumier, Daphne has an entire life and an extensive network overseas. She uses her international business travel as the ultimate cover story. She tells Carter she is booking a sudden, urgent flight to the French countryside to source rare floral extracts for a new Forrester fragrance. The reality is a terrifying descent into the European black market. Imagine the cinematic, heart-pounding sequence. Daphne walking through a dimly lit, unregulated facility in Eastern Europe, handing over a heavy briefcase stuffed with untraceable cash, bypassing every single international adoption law in existence. She meets with a shady, ruthless baby broker who promises a newborn infant with absolutely zero paper trail. The ethical line is crossed, blurred, and erased entirely. Daphne is no longer a victim of biology. She is an active participant in an international crime ring. But a black market baby needs a legitimate paper trail to enter the United States. This is where the trap snaps shut on Carter Walton. Daphne procures expertly forged European adoption papers. They look flawless. The stamps, the signatures, the official seals, all fabricated by high-end criminals. But she needs them legalized and expedited in the States. Who better to process them than the top legal eagle of Forrester Creations? Daphne returns to Los Angeles. She presents the child to a stunned, overwhelmed Carter. She spins a miraculous, fabricated story of a private, expedited adoption from a distant, tragic relative in Europe. Carter is blinded by the tears in his eyes. He holds the infant, his heart overflowing with a joy he thought he would never experience. He doesn't look closely at the watermarks on the documents. He doesn't question the impossible timeline. Driven by the pure, unadulterated joy of sudden fatherhood, Carter uses his own immense legal authority and professional connections to push the fraudulent paperwork through the California family courts. Without realizing it, the chief operating officer of Forrester Creations has just become an unwitting accomplice in an international baby smuggling ring. He has legitimized a crime. He has stamped forged documents. The stakes skyrocket to a catastrophic level. If the truth breaks, Carter Walton will lose his law license forever. He will face federal prison. His entire life will be destroyed by the woman he loves. Forrester Creations is already bleeding profusely from Eric Forrester's unhinged livestream disaster and the escalating Logan fashion war. A C-suite executive involved in buying a baby on the black market will trigger a PR nightmare that will burn the empire to the ground. The stock will plummet. The legacy will be annihilated. But Daphne's biggest threat isn't the law. It is Steffi Forrester Finnegan. Steffi is no fool. She was in the exact room when Dr. Lee Finnegan delivered the early menopause diagnosis. Now, just weeks later, Daphne suddenly has a newborn infant. Steffi knows the agonizing trauma of a stolen baby. She raised Phoebe before the horrifying realization that the child was actually Hope's daughter, Beth. Steffi's radar will instantly go off. She knows what a fast-tracked, secretive adoption looks like. Steffi will start asking questions. She will demand to see the adoption agency's credentials. She will want the name of the European relative. The cat and mouse game begins. Daphne must now defend her massive, illegal lie against the most ruthless, protective CEO in Los Angeles. The tension is electric. Daphne spins more lies, playing the victim, begging Steffi to back off and let her enjoy her miracle. But Steffi's protective instincts for Carter will kick into overdrive. She will launch a secret, relentless investigation into Daphne's European trip. Back in Los Angeles, Shauna Fulton realizes the absolute gold mine she is sitting on. She holds the keys to Carter's freedom and Daphne's marriage. Shauna begins to squeeze Daphne in a ruthless blackmail plot. Shauna wants insider information on Forrester Creations. She wants leverage to help Bill Spencer crush Ridge in the ongoing corporate war. Daphne is forced to become a corporate spy, betraying her husband's company just to protect her illegal baby. The stakes multiply with every passing second. The lie is too big. The walls are closing in. Daphne looks at the baby she bought and the husband she deceived. The guilt begins to rot her from the inside out. When the real mother comes looking, or when Steffi finally uncovers the forged European stamps, the explosion will shatter Los Angeles. Every single moment Carter spends loving this child is another nail in the coffin of his career and his freedom. Daphne's desperate act of love has transformed into a weapon of mass destruction aimed directly at the heart of the man she swore to protect. Will Daphne's illegal baby scheme destroy Carter's life forever? Share your wildest theories in the comments below, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for more.